Hello and welcome to this edition of Takeaway Tuesday. Today we're going to be talking about children's suggestibility and our concern that children may have been coached to give us certain information or deny certain information in a forensic interview. Suggestibility is the degree to which one's memory or recounting of an event is affected either by suggested information or misinformation. This could occur by someone telling a child what to say, or it could be inadvertent where a child is just overhearing something that's being said, or it could be because of questions that are being asked. There is general agreement that children are much more suggestible than adults. But what we do know is that not all children are suggestible all of the time. You can take children of the same age, and some of those children will be highly suggestible, and some children of the exact same age will be very resistant to that same type of suggestion. The critical question to ask in a forensic interview is, how does this child respond? Is this particular child in front of me suggestible? It's not that just all children are suggestible, but is the child that's in the interview room with you, is that child suggestible? The likelihood is that the older the child is, the less suggestible they are, and very definitely the younger children, especially preschoolers, may be more suggestible. Now, if you look at the historic research on suggestibility, the majority of that body of research really examined preschoolers. So if you're conducting an interview with a child that is not a preschooler and maybe older, or even late latency age or an adolescent, those children may not be as suggestible as the younger children. What's interesting when you look at some of the later research on suggestibility, what they have found, or what the researchers have found, is that if children are asked direct questions about a fabricated report, generally those children are going to let go of that fabrication and reveal that they lied or that they fabricated a report. Also, when we talk with children with additional requests for information, so if we ask some of those great narrative encouraging questions, or we ask some direct follow-up questions, generally children will move off that fabrication. It's just harder to maintain that fabricated report during the forensic interview. When you think about it, the ability to fabricate a report and then share that fabricated report with someone and then maintain that fabricated report or instance takes a great deal of cognitive resources. And many of our children are really challenged as they come into a forensic interview and we start asking more questions about an event that they may be fabricating. Children's ability to fabricate the event is predicated just on their memory skills, their cognitive development, their language skills, as well as their knowledge of time. If a child has had minimal parental coaching, oftentimes again in the forensic interview with those direct questions, they're going to come off that fabrication. What happens then when we have children where there's been a greater effort by a parent or an individual to coach the child, it may be harder to determine if that child indeed has been coached. One of the things that you can do in a forensic interview if you do have concerns about parental coaching, and that could be coaching to deny an event or coaching to entirely fabricate an event, is again to ask about, using those narrative encouraging questions to ask about the content. What went on before? What went on afterwards? Asking the children to give you spatial information such as how their body was positioned or the alleged offender's body was positioned. Asking about sensory information. What did they feel or smell or hear? Just covering all of the senses. In a recent report, what we found is that the more the parents coached the child, the more the children were able to give a fabricated instance. What was interesting, though, is that when the children were asked directly if they had fabricated the event, it was split almost 50-50, with almost just a little over 50% maintaining that fabrication and just a little under 50% kind of saying, no, I made that up. Now, oftentimes we do have instances in forensic interviews where we're worried about coaching or suggestibility. And then our question becomes, how do we try to determine what actually did happen or what didn't happen? What we need to ask in the forensic interview is about one, kind of spatial. So how is the child's body positioned? How is the alleged offender's body positioned? We need to find context, what went on before, what went on after. We need to ask about the senses. What did they hear? What did they feel? And as far as their body, what did they hear or see or taste? Another thing that we need to be asking for is, how did the children feel? So we're going for that emotional content here. What were they feeling or what were they thinking? Oftentimes when we come back and we ask these questions, if indeed a child has fabricated an event, then this is going to help the multidisciplinary team, help the investigators to make a decision if they believe a child has been coached. One of the most important things to recognize, though, as a forensic interviewer, is that your interview should never stand alone, that this is just a piece of the investigation, and that there's so much more work to determine what has happened to a child, if anything. If you'd like more information on false allegations or coaching, please check out calio.org. Also look at the NCAC Virtual Training Center for different webinars and seminars that have been recorded with experts in the field. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, please email me at the link below. Thanks and have a great day.